Boom. Okay. What's up? For the three of you maybe that actually tune in and listen to this, first off, thank you. I put some post up earlier. This is the premiere episode of my new podcast, which is called Lost in Ambition. And here's the deal. I don't have some scripted intro right now for you. I'll get one with like, Joe Rogan has like the music in the back. I'll get that shit. But right now, I just want to tell you what the purpose of this is. First of all, I want to have authentic, real conversations. Like, are there some teed up questions for people that listen to it? Sure, why not, to make it interesting? But for the most part, I want this to be authentic conversation with entrepreneurs that have been through a challenging road, which, let's be real, most of us have, almost all of us have. I want those people that I bring on to share their stories, share authentic conversation, and then also talk a little bit about like what we're doing now, what our moves are for the future, how we're planning for the future, and every single thing in between. So this is my premiere episode. I was going to say the man, the myth, the legend, but that's so cliche and played out. So I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is I have Brandon Yu on, somebody not only that I respect, somebody not only that has become an extremely close friend of mine, but someone who, as an entrepreneur, that takes a lot for me to respect a fellow entrepreneur, because I have high standards for myself, and everybody likes to throw that term around. But from the first day that I ever met you in Miami, there was something I always liked about you, respected about you. We always saw eye to eye on certain things. So it seems so fitting that guest number one, Lost in Ambition, Brandon Yu. Thank you, man, for talking to me. I appreciate you.
Gil, I appreciate you having me, and I'm honored to be guest number one on Lost in Ambition. You didn't tee me up with any questions, first of all, so that was a lie. So this is going to be straight, just ad hoc and spitting the truth.
Sure. That's awesome, man. We were starting to talk, obviously, a couple minutes ago. And by the way, for those that listen, like me and Brandon we stay in contact. We catch up every now and then. So we like started to catch up like we always do. And I'm like, hold up, because you have had, I know, like just crazy changes in your life, not only recently, but like over the past couple of years. You scaled a business, sold a business, all this stuff. And just to come out right away with what we were talking about, your father recently passed away, and you moved from your home state. You relocated to Florida, which I'm really happy about because you're closer to me. But how is life? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
And you're building a new business, so
Yes.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to relate this back to entrepreneurship, but I think to answer your question directly, life has been crazy and hectic. As you mentioned, I have a 17-month-old kid. We have another kid due in September, so literally in 4 weeks. We did this move from DC to Florida. Was down here for 2 weeks. My dad got sick, admitted to the hospital. I had to fly back, left my wife and kid here, was up there for 2.5 weeks. My dad ultimately passed. All this in the process of starting another new business as well. And so I think we were chatting, Gil you said you were pushing hard and that was a good thing. You were excited. And what I was going to get into is, I think in this journey of entrepreneurship, I always believe in whatever. I know, Gil, you believe in God, but whoever is listening, God has a plan and everything happens for a reason. And what I was going to tell you, Gil, earlier was I was actually in July. And I was like, this new business is taking forever. Like, I'm launching a brand new product, a consumer brand from scratch. And I had to align vendors and all these things. And it was just taking forever. And I was complaining that like I was almost bored. I was bored. And then literally 5 days after I said that, I get a call that my dad had admitted to the hospital, had to fly back, had to drop everything, which was a blessing in disguise because I was able to be fully present by my dad's bedside in the hospital and hospice. So I haven't been grinding as hard as you in recent weeks, but I think in entrepreneurship, like everything, you're going to have challenges and everything's cyclical as well. Knowing the different seasons to go super hard and also pulling back for more important things in life, like family.
So there was a very, very short piece of that where you froze, but I got all of it. And I don't, it could have been on my side, but I got what you said there. How it's in retrospect, every crazy even horrible, like good and bad, horrible situation that I've been through. In retrospect, there's been something that's come out of it, either learning or even positivity. Like something positive came out of horrible things. And in that moment, I never understood it or never there. It made zero sense to me. But now reflecting, there's positive things I could say. With everything you're doing right now, with a baby on the way, with a little baby at home, like, and your dad passing, I know you mentioned you lean to God, but like, how do you manage your emotions and try to see positivity when it's kind of hard to like, sure, you just said you got to be there and be present with them, but like, I'm sure deep down or parts of you are thinking there's really no good in this. I just moved, my dad passed, like what good, how does this make sense? Like, how do you at least get through it if you don't find good in it?
Yeah. I think the answer is easier said than what most people can do. And fortunately or not fortunately, you know, different people deal with different circumstances and emotions, and they kind of grieve through that differently. I have been blessed throughout my life to just always have an optimistic attitude. And I think one thing for me is I know everything's going to work out. You know, we hear the Hormozy post content all the time of like, you know, your obituary is going to be 4 sentences long. And I think, you know, this is something that we've chatted about, Gil, in our entrepreneurship journey with our agency is like a lot of times it feels like the sky is falling. And in that moment, you can decide to choose your own perspective. Is the sky falling where you're going to let it continue to fall and you're just going to let that kind of boulder or that avalanche continue to roll down that mountain? Or are you going to stop that kind of rolling boulder avalanche and say, I can change this trajectory, or look for the silver lining out of it? For the death of my dad, just sorry, is there is so much more good that came out of it because he was struggling with a disease for the last couple of years of his life that sure, I shed tears, but the amount of joy that I have knowing that he's in a much better place today far outweighs anything selfishly I could feel not having him here on earth today.
That's an amazing perspective. And like, you're giving me goosebumps listening to you talk. How do you, this is one of the reasons I think I was always drawn to you is like, I just get the feeling from you in all of our conversations that you're mentally strong. And I think it's something I want to be. It's very important to me to be mentally strong, especially with all the shit that I've been through in my life. So I appreciate it in other people. And I also realize how valuable it's been as a tool in my entrepreneurial journey. Aside from just having faith and maybe, you know, looking to God and other things, like, do you have any practical advice for entrepreneurs that want to develop mental fortitude or resilience? Like, is there anything they can go out and do on a daily basis to become mentally stronger so that the day when they get the call that their parent has died or their business is falling apart or their favorite employee quit or their wife is whatever horrible things that we all deal with in life and as entrepreneurs, is there any way we can like work on this and be prepared? Or do we just got to wait till the shit happens and then go through it and then get better then?
Yeah, very good question. And I think it just starts. So I have this, and I've said this from probably my senior year of high school. And I was actually saying it to myself. But I have this belief that everyone, including myself, is innately lazy. It's just human nature to be lazy, especially in the times that we live. And mental strength, mental fortitude is not doing what probably any entrepreneur that's listening to this podcast thinks it is that they need to do, right? They're looking at this big thing that they're like, okay, I need to do that to be mentally strong, or I need to accomplish that to be mentally strong. Start with the small shit. Like, you don't want to do something currently in your everyday life, whether that's for some people prioritizing gym, whether that's for some people, maybe they don't want to get into a cold plunge, right? I'm just using very basics examples. Maybe it's you don't want to sleep at a certain time at night, but you know, if you slept at a certain time, you'll wake up in the morning fresher and you'll be able to wake up earlier and accomplish more. Have the discipline to do that small shit to start. And that will continue to build momentum day after day to then having you being able to kind of attack and accomplish these bigger kind of items that you will face as an entrepreneur.
Which is all funny you say that, because like we were texting earlier and you just got COVID, right? You're getting, yeah. And I had some crazy health stuff happen over the weekend. And and when you messaged me that, hey, I sound weird, I just had COVID, I was like, it's cool if we reschedule. And then both me and you were just like, dude, the podcast is all about like the hardship and the journey and doing that. Like, fuck that. We're doing this, we're getting on, we're talking, even if both of us aren't at 100%. And I know for sure that there have been many days you didn't feel 100%, that you said, fuck this shit, I'm showing up and doing what I need to do. Cause I know for me, there's been probably as many, if not more days, I don't feel like doing the things that I need to do than days like I actually feel like doing the things I need to do. Family, you have a little kid, you have a beautiful wife, you just moved, you have a baby on the way, and you're building a new business. And I want to get to like what happened with your last business, but how are you balancing this now? Because you just share.
That's a good question. So I'm actually going to relate this back to my dad. There's recency with my dad's passing, but so in going through, organizing his celebration of life service, memorial service and all that, we met with the pastor, and it was me, my mom, my sister. And, I believe life along with business and entrepreneurship is all a game of learning and then leveling up, right? So you learn something, you take what you've learned and you apply it to the next level of the game. And so the pastor asked us at the kitchen table, literally 3 weeks ago, what's one memory or thought that you have of your dad? And my mom went around, shared a thought. My sister shared a thought. And the only thing that I could think of is this word balanced. So I literally said it to the pastor, like, the one word that comes to mind is balanced. And the pastor was looking at me like, what the hell? Like, this isn't a story or this isn't a memory. And so I elaborated. I was like, if I look back at my dad's life, I was very blessed to have amazing parents. Probably, my relationship with my dad was much closer than my mom. My mom was great. We just didn't jive, right? Like, it was just different, but I love her. And I look back at my dad and the life that he provided, not only as a dad, but he owned his own business as a travel agency. He came from Hong Kong, immigrated, and opened his own travel agency. There was never a time in my dad's life, me growing up, that I can remember that he over prioritized one thing over the other. And in that moment, when I was explaining how my dad is balanced, I was thinking of myself as an entrepreneur and how much I sacrifice. And my dad probably sacrificed, but like, Gil, owning a marketing agency is not the easiest. It takes a lot of time. I definitely over prioritized and focused on my time. And there's a season for that. But as I enter this new season, kind of carrying my dad's honor as well, like, I'm more in business and family time, but also for my health. Right. And I think if everyone's looking for this ideal life of trying to make the most amount of money, growing your business as big as you can, in most cases, right? That's part of the game. But there's huge aspects of this game that I realized after selling my agency that I was neglecting. And so I was unbalanced. And so going into your question about being balanced is just being cognizant of it, creating a plan that I'm going to actually stick to, as opposed to before when I had workout at this time and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this meeting or, do the sales call instead. Actually truly sticking to it. That's important to creating this balance that's long-term and sustainable.
Yeah, that, it's interesting. When I'm at the gym, sometimes I'll like write stories or notes or whatever to myself, like thoughts. I guess that's a better way to put it. I put my thoughts in my notes section of my phone, and a lot of this, some of it turns into like a tweet, or I don't really tweet, I use Threads. And some of it never makes it out of my phone. But I wrote down that the dichotomy of an entrepreneur is really important. And what I meant, because that probably doesn't make sense to you or anybody else, what I meant is that you have to understand the different, like everything is not one way. So, okay, you say, like, I listen to you talk there and say, you do need to find balance. You need to understand how to prioritize your life. You need to, you can't be so far over here that you lose yourself over here. And then earlier I hear you say seasons, right? And I think that like everything you said is really important for me personally to listen to because, I idolize Kobe Bryant and I don't even like basketball, right? Does that make sense? Right? I don't care about basketball at all. Like I barely watch the guy play a game, but I idolize him as a human. And he was probably the most far thing from balanced ever, right? I mean, he sacrificed his family at times. He sacrificed his marriage, his sanity, his health, all that. But he was great. He was really, really great at what he did, right? And I don't know that without that sacrifice, he would have been as great as he was. Who knows? But what I'm learning is that like it doesn't have to like in the macro perspective, balance is important. You can't lose. In fact, it's ironic with Kobe, right? And I'll get to that, but you can't lose the overall sight of the pic. Like to me, it's like I'm in a season right now of building a new company, right? A new business, and I'm all in, man. I want to make it work. I'm in my Kobe mode for the business. But I realize like there has to be a time when my intention and my focus shift back to my family. I can't let them slip away. And also I think communication is important. I try to communicate with my wife as much as I can to let her know that I might lose that balance at moments, but like I have a plan to get back and I understand. So and you know what?
I agree with you, Gil, because I don't want to be mistaken of like your balance 365. I think the what I kind of learned in my last agency is I was unbalanced for a long, sustained period of time.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
that's different, right?
Yeah. Well, and also I think that's what I was meant to get back to what I was writing in my phone this morning is like, there's no right answer here.
Yeah.
There is no, like, there are people that have been very balanced every season throughout their entire life that have a fuck ton of money and are great entrepreneurs. Those people exist. And then there are Elon Musk who sleeps under his desk and literally doesn't leave his office and has 12 kids that like half of them don't know his name, or like, no, like there's that. And both can work. And I think this is a problem in entrepreneurship is that, and I remind myself, the note that I wrote, because it was all over the place, but applied to politics. It's like, we align ourselves with a political party, right? Bipartisanship. And then we just adopt all of those thoughts. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You can believe in one thing and then go, I believe in this. I extract this. I take this. But then like, I also grab my other thoughts and ideas and beliefs from my own experiences and ideas. So like, again, so this makes sense and comes full circle. You can believe you need balance and also believe in working really hard and believe in being all in and obsessed and like apply it in different aspects. And I think the more experience, you said this earlier, the more experience, the more you level up, the more you understand that everything is not black and white. And there's a lot of nuance to everything in life. And also that there is no right answer. Like that was my biggest epiphany. And it took meeting some idols of mine and having conversations with some idols of mine to go like, you truly are just a person. There's nothing different about you or me. You might have more money in the bank or more success, but like, yeah.
I was just going to say that I think what you just described is, I believe in our society today, going back to my thought of everyone is inherently or innately lazy. Everyone that wants to be an entrepreneur, not everyone, a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs just take one person, see their success and try to model everything that person's doing. So, not to hate on Hormozy, right? But like everyone looks at Hormozy and says, okay, this is what he's doing. He's waking up at 4 a.m. He's grinding. He's going to the gym. Like everyone's looking at that and saying, okay, this is what I have to do to be successful.
Yeah, he has it figured out. Everybody's like, he's got it figured out. That's what I do.
Exactly. This is the exact formula that I follow. And if I follow this formula to a T, and it's like, they think that's the cheat code. And it's like, no, you still have to use your own brain to process and figure out how that works best for you. I think, I think it's the same thing with AI now, right? Like AI, I think, is a cheat code that people are just going to use and have used, but they don't interpret it. They just rely on that now. And I think where the real people are going to separate themselves from the fakers. Like they're going to use AI as a resource or a tool to accelerate what they're doing or their knowledge or their output or whatever, but they're not just using that as the final product.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference of what you're explaining. It's like you take bits and pieces of all best practices. What works best for you as a person? What makes you happy, right? Like, I think that's important for life in general.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very true and hard to do at times because, you know, there's like certain people like Jim Rohn and, you know, Hermosi at times where I'm like, they're speaking to me, they're talking my language, you know, and then you get like a little bit like, okay, I'm here, they're there, they've done that right. Let me just do what they do. And this is not to like shit on Hermosi, but like I started, my wife gives me a sobering reality check at times. And she's like, that's their life though. Like, you don't know what his life looks like behind the scenes. And, you know, she's like, you love your family, right? Yeah. You're like, the guy doesn't have kids or want kids. So
Yeah.
there's certain things that you can't relate to or understand, or that he's doing that that wouldn't make you happy. Right. So like, if I tried to live his life, I literally would be miserable. I wouldn't be happy. Right. I love my kids. I love spending time with my family. And that might at times make me a little bit less committed to entrepreneurship, but like, it's my life and that's what I want to do. Right. So, let me we could talk about this all day. So let me divert really quick. You got your agency up to like over $250,000 a month, like 260 grand a month. You were doing something like that. You had, I know from my personal conversation with you, you had a robust call center. You never ran paid ads. You then went and sold for multi-seven figure, like close to $3 million. All in what I think was a relatively short period of time. I think me and you launched in 2020 together, right? Or were you 19?
No, June of 2020 is when I signed my first client.
Geez, we're like on the same fucking timeline.
Yeah.
Crazy. What was that entire experience like? What did you learn from it? And why did you sell? Like, why did you sell? That,
Right.
answer that one last.
Yeah. What was my experience like? I had just sold another business in 2019. That was a retail business. I did okay in it, not as much kind of money or revenue as the agency did. So again, I took the experience that I learned in business number one. And when COVID hit, I was working with a startup. The startup laid me off. And so I said, what do I want to do? And I said, I'm going to take the skills that I know in marketing from my last business, and I'm just going to offer it to a couple of spas that I know personally. Reached out to them, one person signed, and from there, that's how I got started. I'll be honest, I never started the agency with any goal in mind. You know, now there's courses that say hit 10K minimum in 30 days, 20K, 50K with an ultimate goal of 100K. I never had a revenue goal in mind. I said, I'm going to do this to replace the income that I lost being laid off, and I'll see what it comes of it. What I learned from it is a couple of things. Taking what you just said in the previous kind of topic that we were chatting about, of like taking information and taking the model of what people have done, but doing what's best for you. If you look at any agency course out there on how to grow an SMMA, it says to run paid ads and sell. Right? In fact, I was part of a program that said you're crazy and you should just focus on sell. I didn't do any of that. I never, outside of the first clients that I signed in a kind of a personal one-on-one email, I signed 2 clients. From that period, every other client that I received was from referral. Never sent another outbound email, outbound DM, never ran ads, never had a salesperson. I was the only salesperson. I did every single call. Typically, it was a 1-call close, 30 minutes. And so what I learned is there's multiple ways to play this game of business, but there's also multiple ways to be successful in specific niches of a business. I believe if I followed what the coaching programs taught, our business probably wouldn't have been as successful as it was today, or when I sold.
Damn, that's crazy. That's something that everybody, if you catch this, you should listen to this part. If you don't listen to anything else, I again, recently wrote down something where I said that a lot of coaching programs and gurus and stuff like that, and I'm not just shitting on them to shit on them. Like they've helped me. A lot of them are valuable. I still have a coach to this day that I meet with, right? And more of a personal coach, but still. But we listen to the concepts and we think that's exactly and the only way to do it. Then we go try to do it. And we either, it's not natural to us, we're not good at it, or we get distracted from some things that were already working. If you got pulled into the business concepts that were in that program that you were mentioning and did that, I don't think you would have been successful as successful as you were. I think you would have been stressed. Your attention would have been diverted from some things you're really good at. I know you're good at product development. I know you care about fulfillment. I know you were good at building out a call center operations. I think your attention, because you do have a finite amount of energy and attention that you can give in a business, even as you hire people and buy back your time. The problem with a lot of these coaching programs are they stay relevant by launching a new product and throwing a new product. And we got the AI shit and we got the boom, 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 boom. And you as a student are going, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. And it's like, no. I tell the CEOs of the two businesses, the agencies that I have ownership in today, keep the main thing, the main thing. And I changed that phrase. And this is my version of it. Keep the main thing, the only thing. Just do that over and over, especially if you're under $1 million in EBITDA. Like, just keep the main thing the only thing and do that. And then when you start breaking through 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, you can get creative and fancy, but just do what's working.
What you said about these coaching programs and the coach in the coaching program that I was a part of, I had a call with him probably like 2 months in after joining. And I was like, look, I just don't know that this is for me. Like, just the way that I'm kind of moving forward. And one thing that I appreciated from him was like, he didn't say, well, no, this is the only way. He was like, honestly, like, Brandon, you're on to something. I just can't coach this. It's much harder to coach this and have 100 students follow it as opposed to teaching someone how to just run paid ads.
Let me clarify that right there. Are you saying he was saying he couldn't coach it because it wasn't sexy and appealing and not sellable, or he did not have experience in it, therefore he couldn't give you advice in it, or both?
Very good question. The former, right? So
yeah,
it's not sexy and it takes time. You can't just turn on ads and see a lead come in day one and then just, right? It takes a little time to build this snowball effect where now I'm getting consistent referrals day after day, but it's because I invested so much in product and customer fulfillment and in results that I was able to do that. But it opened up big whales for me, right? Compared to just running ads on a one-to-one basis.
So that is just such a danger for digital entrepreneurs, because what I hear there is saying that if I join a certain coaching program, right, or whatever, there's a possibility they're not going to give me the best, most valuable, powerful advice and strategy because it's not appealing and sexy to the masses, right? So even if I could tell you what the better route, and also disclaimer it with, you may and probably will fail if you go this route, but if you can figure it out, this is the right way to go. I'm not even going to try to begin to push people in that direction because it's not sexy. It's not appealing. It's not as transactional. I can't get a couple wins and them to feel like the program's valuable. Therefore, I will dumb it down and I will give you the sell strategy. Cause that is what, like, that might be okay for starters to just get their feet wet. But for someone who's really all in this game and trying to build something that is real and that they care about, like, fuck, that sucks.
And Gil, I think, like, if we even look at this 30,000 foot view, if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's something inside of you, right? Let me back up. If a person wants to be an entrepreneur, one, they just see it because of just straight the money and they won't be successful, right? Because they just want to copy a blueprint and just make as much money as quickly as possible. That's probably going to maybe spike quickly, but then fizzle very fast. or they want to be an entrepreneur because they have this inside of them where they want to problem solve. They want to kind of create their own thing, cultivate it, and grow it. And if you're that second type of entrepreneur, which arguably that's the type of entrepreneur that can truly grow something big, into a big business. And granted, there's other people that can grow businesses and just do it for the money. In this time of being an entrepreneur, you're going to have these ideas and gut feelings. So you'll take the information in the blueprint that a course teaches you, but you're also going to have your own ideas and your gut feelings. And in that moment, I always have this thing is, what is going to be your biggest regret? And I still remember the call where on a coaching call, they said, Brandon, what you're doing is not sustainable for your business, because I had weekly one-on-one coaching calls with every single client. And we were at that time like 25, 30. They're like, you need to cut that now. You just need to do group coaching. I was like, yeah, but what if I hire American, US based people, customer service success managers that have experience in spa? What if I hired them and they took over some of the training too? Not cost effective, not sustainable. You need to cut that now, do group coaching. So I specifically remember getting off that call and saying, well, fuck, what do I do? Like, do I change my model? Or do I continue with what I think will work best for my business? And at the end of the day, I was like, what's going to be my biggest regret? If I follow this advice and it fails, or if I just go my own choice, even if that fails, I've learned a lesson, but I won't regret not trying that, which is what my gut was telling me to do. So I went that route.
And what you said earlier about little daily habits and rituals and doing hard things, to me, that comes right back to that. And I'll explain why. If you do what you say you're going to do enough, what happens is you develop trust with yourself. You believe yourself, right? And when you believe yourself, sometimes it doesn't even matter what path you choose. It's the one that you commit to. And in that moment, something like that, as an example, a entrepreneur that hasn't built trust with themselves, that has let themselves down and lied to themselves over and over and over again, they don't know where to go. They're just looking for advice, and then they're blindly following that advice because they have no conviction in their self, right? Versus somebody who has conviction in their self that goes, there might be something to what they're saying, but in my gut, I feel like I'm already doing something right, and this feels right to me. I'm going this route, and I'm not only going this route just to go, I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it all out, right? Like, the likelihood of success with those two paths is so much higher this way. You have conviction behind it. It's your own thing. It's something that you inherently believe in, versus like adopting some other person's thought or idea or ideology or business strategy that you're not sure, that you're just taking, that you're not really committed to or bought into. So this is why, like, at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is less a tactical game and more of a mindset game. And that is something that's not sexy and hard to sell, right? But it's the truth. 90% of the shit that I talk about, or when I talk to people that I'm close with that are entrepreneurs, it's all mindset. It's all like strategy is 10 to 20% of what we talk about at this level, at the level that I feel I'm at now. It's all mindset, man. It's like the strategies don't matter if the mindset, the commitment, the conviction isn't there.
Yeah.
You're going to get lost anyway.
I remember actually, Gil, this is something that has stuck with me probably 2 years ago when we were chatting when we had our agencies actively working in it, and there's ebbs and flows to being an agency owner. And you sent me a voice message where it was like, you're like, I feel like being an entrepreneur is just being in the boxing ring. And you're fighting a monster. I think the example you used was like you're fighting a monster and you're just taking one blow after the next. And the game of entrepreneurship is just the ability to get up after that blow, that hit, that right jab, that left jab, that undercut, whatever it is. If you can continue to get up, you've already won, right? And I think that has stuck with me as well. It's, there's going to be days as an entrepreneur, as an agency owner, where like shit feels like it's hitting the fan, the sky's falling, everything you can think of. You just have to get up and keep going.
Well, and if you have the habits, when horrible things happen in my business, there were times I was done. I was tapping out. My mind was quitting. There was one particular time something happened, and I remember I literally like punched the wall in my office, walked out, and was like, I don't know what else to do here, right? And I felt very frustrated. And when I woke up the next morning, I only knew how to do one thing, and that was get up, go to the gym, go to my office, try. That was literally it. Not like I was like, I wasn't even like giving myself this pep talk, like I'm stronger. Like I just didn't know anything else. It was like, this is my habits. This is what I've done. And if I don't just go through this, what do I do? Do I sit there and just wait for the world to fall? I'm like, no, I'm like, even if it does fall, like it's not even maybe about what the outcome of what happens is. I am the type of person that has habits, that has commitments, and I keep them. So I get up, I go to the gym, I go to my office, I try, and I do it again, and I do it again, and I do it again, and I do it again. And then all of a sudden, weeks later, I came out of it, and I was like, oh, we're done with that. Like 2 weeks ago, I was throwing in the towel, and like I talked to you around this time frame. It was like, that's how valuable my habits have been in my life. That in that moment, I could have lost everything I worked for, but because I had habits, it took 2 weeks to figure it out.
And I think, do you know Jesse Itzler?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Jesse Itzler. I think
I'm a fan of him and his wife. Yeah. She's awesome. Yeah.
His wife just launched a new brand, actually. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I know Spanx, obviously, but
yeah, she just launched a sneaker brand called Sneaks.
It'll probably be successful. She's a beast.
Yeah, she's awesome. I had a chance to see him talk in person, which was amazing. One of the things that I've gotten from him is this phrase, pressure is a privilege. And I think it goes back to your question earlier to me of like, how can one be optimistic? Obviously, you trust in God, or you trust in, something higher, but like, how can you be optimistic? And it's like, you're about your perspective. Like when shit's hitting the fan, it's like these habits, but also it's how you think of it. It's like, you can think, woe is me. Oh, I'm losing all these clients. Facebook shut down, or, the cost per like election year and whatever, right? Whatever excuse you want to throw at it. Or you can say, look, this is a privilege of what I'm going through now. I'm going to figure out how to get past this level of this game to get to the next level, right? But that pressure, having that pressure is such a privilege that most 9-to-5ers don't have or can't experience as you would as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. 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 I tweeted or threaded or whatever the hell they call it the other day. And I said that when I launched my first business, I remember I would go home and I would dream at night, not like really dream, but like in my head, I would visualize the day that I could have 3 employees and I could take them out to like an event, like Top Golf or something. I was like, it'll be me. I was walking through to my head. It'll be me. It'll be my wife. It'll be 3 employees. I'll go to Top Golf. The bill will be like $600. I'll pay for it out of the company account. Like, when I get there, I know that I've made it, right? That's because I just wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't want millions at that time. I just wanted a business that was sustainable, that made a little bit of money, that made enough to cover a $600 outing with 3 employees. I did that a long time ago. That was my original dream. Everything else I've done since then, I've already won. I've already beat the game, right? So like in moments of pressure or stress, I remind myself, I choose this. I love this. This is what I want to do. This is what it's not. No one's tying my hands and forcing me to play this game. I love it. And in order to play it, that comes with stress and pressure and anxiety and some uncomfortable situation. But at the end of the day, I get to choose it. Like people get thrown into horrible situations that they don't choose, and they have to have the mental fortitude to figure it out. Like I choose this. So I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to bitch. I'm not going to moan if something goes wrong in my business, or the economy shifts, or one of my competitors fucks me over, whatever. This is the game. It is what it is. Right. Like I love it. I'm in it. And I won a long time ago. So everything, like I'm playing with house money at this point, I'm playing on the house. I just get to enjoy myself, and it's a blessing, and wow. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I want to close. I want to close with this because I know everybody wants to hear it. Why did you sell your business? What was your motivation? I mean, sure, you got a chunk of money. I'm sure you don't mind having a few millies in the bank or whatever, but why'd you sell? You had a good business. You had it under control. Why do that to go
Very good question. It was, you mentioned something about coaches, and again, we've chatted about coaches, and I have nothing against coaches. I think coaches actually, I've used this example actually on a call that we had Gil with another agency owner. It's like when you're in the business as an entrepreneur, it's equivalent to like kind of being in tall grass. And sometimes it's hard to just take a step up and look above the tall grass to see yourself out of it, right? And in owning this agency, I love the agency and I loved my team and I love the clients. And I realized at some point I was waking up and I didn't like it as much. And I couldn't figure out why. Like I still had passion for getting our clients results. I still have a tremendous amount of passion for all of the team members that we had on our team. I still chat with them and actually the owners that bought my last agency. I still have so much love for them. But in chatting with my coach, my personal coach, as I shared kind of this stuff week to week with her, she had asked me a question of like, on this one call, I remember it was in December of 22. She said, Brandon, what do you like doing? And I don't even remember my answer, to be quite honest, but I gave her an answer. And she said, Brandon, your tone in that answer was completely different than this entire rest of the call that we've had for the last 30 minutes. And I don't remember my exact answer, but what it was relating to was building something new. And so that's when she taught me, and I've learned it from Tony Robbins as well, this concept of there's 3 types of entrepreneurs. A true kind of like entrepreneur where they're just looking at what money am I putting in and what money am I getting out? So they're looking at it from the money side. There's the manager or integrator, right? They are like the CEO or a head coach where they're like great at like running a company and they thrive on getting a team and helping the team grow to growing a big machine. And then the third is just an artist. And the artist is kind of like they have this passion for something. And I realized of those 3 types of entrepreneurs in that moment that I'm an artist and I care a lot about the product I build, but not only the product that I build, I like building new things. And in that moment, she helped me understand that the agency, why I wasn't having as much fun was I wasn't fulfilling my own personal needs as an artist. And I was doing a lot of the CEO, manager, integrator stuff that I just wasn't as happy with. Doesn't mean I wasn't good at it. I just wasn't as happy with it. And so my mindset, my immediate response when she helped me know, like, help me realize this was, yeah, but I have to grow as an entrepreneur and I just have to kind of bulldoze my way through it. And she was like, yes, to a certain degree, but Brandon, you're not just giving up. Because in my mind, I thought I was just giving up, right? Oh, this is a challenge. I'm not good at, I don't like it. So I'm just giving up. And it was like, for the next month, she helped me realize like, you can enjoy what you're doing while also like kind of maximizing the type of entrepreneur that you are. And that was like the light bulb moment that I was like, huh, maybe I don't have to just keep going like head against this brick wall every day. Not because of anything that was going on in the company. It was just that I didn't enjoy, like, I personally was not fulfilled and happy. Building logos and looking at packaging and like for my new brand, like, I love this shit. Like, getting the new domain, like, this is shit that I enjoy. And so that she helped me realize that. And so that's ultimately why I decided to explore selling like my business. And then it was able to successfully sell. But that was that light bulb moment for me of identifying what type of entrepreneur I am. And that I can now coexist of being an artist while also starting and launching a new brand or business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I had a very similar kind of like epiphany or whatever during a coaching session. Maybe more, this is more broad, but just like ultimately the person I was talking to was like, because I would always think I have to sacrifice this to get this, right? So like I'm going to be away from my family if I want this, or I can't go buy that thing if I want to have this much money. Right. And she's like, you could have it all at the same time, simultaneously. And I was like, what? I was like, no, you can't. I was like, this is what sacrifice and hard work. She's like, no, I know. I'm not saying there's not moments, seasons. You used that term earlier. She used that. She's like, but ultimately you could have it all at a macro level. You could have an amazing marriage. You could be the best father. You could be rich as fuck. You could be a successful entrepreneur. You could have friends. You could have family. You could have health. You could have looks. You could have youth. You could have all of it all together, all at once. Do you know that? And I was like, no, I don't know that. I was like, I'm going to explore that concept though. And I'll let you know when I know that, you know? And it was a while ago and I still struggle with it. You know, I still go back to my tendencies. But I don't know if that was applicable to what you just said. What I really took, what's crazy to me about what you said is like, you had a feeling that you were failing and giving up while you were potentially making millions on an exit. In other people's mind, that is a dream goal that may never happen. Yet it was a reality in front of your face and you felt like you were giving up and failing. And like,
I thought I was failing my clients. I thought I was failing my team. I thought I was failing myself, right? Because I think the biggest thing for me was, as an entrepreneur, and again, this goes back to like everything that you see online and all the coaches, it's just like level up, like suck it up, like just wake up and do it. And so for me, it was like, I almost like put every other option behind me. I was like, if I'm not having fun, if I'm like, fuck it, just do it. Like this is, I need to break through this. And I had nothing to break through. Because no matter where I was, even if I grew another $10 million in the agency, there was nothing for me to break through. It was just.
Do you feel like it was the opportunity vehicle? Do you feel like that was part of it? You had, number one, do you feel like there was some type of feeling or sign, whether it was God or whether it was a business universe or whatever, that feeling that you had was an indication it's time to do something else? And did you also feel like it was time to go into a bigger opportunity vehicle simultaneously? Was it kind of that, or am I off there?
No, you're not off. So I always believe that everything, like I said from the beginning of this call, everything happens for a reason. There's a plan for my life. And so I always go into everything I do so confident, because win, lose, or draw, it was meant to happen in my life, as long as I'm doing the right thing. If I'm out doing drugs and doing all that shit, like that's also meant to happen if the bad things happen in my life. But if I'm doing the right things and putting out the right energy, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens in my life, it was meant to happen. So me selling the agency in that moment, that light bulb moment going off in my head, and then in hindsight from there, yes, it was meant to happen to a bigger opportunity. Now, the story from there, we'll see what that's still TBD, right? I'm in the process right now, but I didn't know what I was going to do when I sold the agency. I didn't have this idea of what business I wanted to start. In fact, my coach also said after I sold the business, she goes, Brandon, I know you're going to want to just jump into something new. I told you this, Gil, when you were selling your agency. Because just the way we're wired, we can't sit still. We feel like we have to grind because that's how we were brought up, right? Like that's how we got to our success. So she told me, like, you have to take a minimum of 3 months off. And again, as some will say, luck will have it or whatever, like everything happens for a reason. I was introduced to this new technology in the skincare field, and like immediately this light bulb and this passion. And I told you, Gil, because we were supposed to work together, I was like, I just can't stop thinking about this. And I can't stop thinking of the opportunity. Like I have the vision, like the detail that you charted about, the going to the top golf. Like I have this vision of where this brand's going to be, what product line I'm launching, what the next product line is, how it's going to be like used in the consumer market. Like I have all of this so detailed in my head. We don't even have our first product manufactured yet, right? It's still in manufacturing. That didn't come till afterwards, but do I believe that all of this has happened for a reason? Do I believe that this was slow to kind of develop in the last 4 to 6 months because maybe my dad was going to be sick and I had it? Absolutely. All of this happened for a reason.
Yeah, that is awesome. And just listening to you talk through like the passion that you have for your business and the vision. I think anybody who's listening, who listens to that or hears you, that is an entrepreneur, has had that same moment or moments or all the time. Cause I feel the exact same way right now. It's like, I can't stop thinking about things. And, I asked my wife, like, is this healthy? Sometimes I'm like, it's consuming me a little bit, and I think I think our significant others are supporting, as long as it's not negative energy. Like you said, as long as it's in a positive way that you're pushing it, it's a good thing. We're going to wrap, but I want to know, what is this product that you are building? What is this company? What are you going to do? Why the hell is it different? Why should anybody even go check out Brandon's acne line off of, all these other ones out there? Tell me, man, why is this special?
Well, first of all, since I just got home, I got the prototype in the mail.
Woo-hoo.
So this is the
That is
packaging.
good looking. No
Vanish
bullshit. I'm not gassing.
skincare.
That's good looking, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it's a flip box that will sit on every counter, every teenage counter where they just grab a mask every day, put it on, spray the mask on. So to answer your question, I'm launching a skincare brand. This isn't just, to me, it was intriguing because of the technology being used that I was introduced to. So I had the opportunity to fly out to the Czech Republic last December to visit this factory that's doing some pretty cool stuff in how the masks are applied. So instead of using like a cream, lotion, liquid, whatever that you would rub onto the mask, these active ingredients are just encapsulated into this, what they call nanofiber. And so it's literally just the active ingredients. Once the nanofiber hits moisture on the face, the active ingredient gets instantly absorbed by the face. Deeper penetration, no other emulsifiers or anything else kind of preservatives out there, which creates much better results. And so for me,
Is it safer and healthier without all that extra stuff in there? Yeah. Okay, cool.
safer, healthier. And that's what I was going to actually say is, I struggled with acne as a teenager. And like, before I decided to move forward with this, I like researched, okay, what are the acne products out there? And it's like every single acne product that I used back then
Had some shit.
still, there's no innovation there, right? So it's either a prescription medication or some type of topical. And a lot of the over-the-counter topicals use, for example, like benzoyl peroxide, which is known to be a cancer-causing agent. But then the other thing is there's a lot of adverse side effects. Like, and I remember this, like I tried and I used Proactive as a teenager. Like my face would be red and it was irritated and it was dry.
It would burn. It would like burn
Exactly.
parts of my face. Yeah.
And so like a lot of the times, like these treatments that may treat acne then cause other side effects, dry, flaky skin and all that. So like your skin still, for lack of a better term, doesn't look great, what someone would want to look their face to look after using a product. And so this not only helps with the acne side, but it helps with the overall like skin barrier and inflammation that cause the redness and all that stuff. So we've gone through, I joke with my wife, Gail, I was like, it probably would be better for me to, start a new business that had some type of relation to my previous businesses, because it would make this ramp up time a lot quicker. But I didn't. But we've gone through a lot of testing, and the amount of feedback that we've heard from people that have suffered from acne, tried everything or did things where their acne went away, but they had these adverse side effects. That's, being the artist, like that's what keeps me up, going, is like these stories are like, I can't believe in 2 weeks my skin there's no more redness. And like, it brings me back to my teenage years where I'm like, if I can help X amount of kids and people that suffer from acne in a non-invasive, non-harmful product, that's my goal.
Yeah. And, it seems like that would make the most sense. You go into a similar business, but like, it's just not how it works, because like once you're an entrepreneur and you got the vision and you have the drive and you have general understanding of operations and teams and, how to structure a company, like Elon went from PayPal to Tesla to space. Like those are not really related, you know, like they're different. So I don't think so. I think the more important thing is that when you exit one business, go into a bigger opportunity vehicle. Like it's not only about money. So if you're going to play this game, up the stakes, right? Make it where you actually are going to challenge yourself. You can go bigger, right? And that was like, it's ironic that you and I connected because we have a similar progression. It's like from retail to a, you know, national marketing business to now larger opportunity vehicles that we're in. Like, I feel like we're following the right blueprint for entrepreneurship, which is play the game bigger. Go in, build it, exit, play the game bigger. Go in, build it, exit, play the game bigger. You know, sometimes you hit you hit a lucky shot right out the gate. You get a giant Amazon type company or whatever, and it's your only company and you build it. Sometimes that happens. But most entrepreneurs go into one vehicle and they go bigger and bigger and bigger. Everybody does it. Hormozi does it. Elon Musk does it. Like everyone does it, you know? So
And
I
it's
think,
because you have to learn at the smaller scale, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's no different than school. You can't just go into high school.
yeah,
You have to learn, you know, how to sit down in class in kindergarten to, you know, graduating the different levels as you mentioned. And
yeah,
so, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, I agree.
So is it launched yet? Can anybody check it out yet? But when it does, I know you shook your head, but when it does launch, how could, if there's anybody out there, maybe even adults, not just teenagers that suffer with acne, like, can we check it out?
Yeah, it's vanishskincare.com. The main site's being developed. So right now we just have a landing page up. Products are being manufactured as we speak. And we hope to launch end of October, early November.
Cool. Well, best of luck, brother. You're going to do big things. I told you, you know, that we talk about all the time. I tell you that all the time. You're going to do big things in life. But same, like I said, you've already won the game. So everything from here on out is a cherry on top in your life. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for being a friend. And yeah, I wish you nothing but the best, brother.
Same to you, Gil. I know you have some exciting things going on, and I hope everyone continues to listen to Gil and what he has to offer, because the wealth of knowledge and lessons that I've learned from you, Gil, you know, as friends and you know, peers, you know, first starting as entrepreneurs as well. They've come a long way, you know, in helping me in my journey as well. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And if you're listening and you're as crazy as fucking Brandon and you actually like listening to me, this is episode 1. It will be uploaded to Spotify podcast. It will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, and it will be live streamed right here to my very own Facebook page. That's the only place you can get it. That's the only place you could listen to it. So if you like what you hear, go subscribe on Spotify podcast, first of all. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can hear it there, and shoot me a friend request or a follow or whatever you do on Facebook so that you can hear it live. I have a couple like huge names, Brandon, that are going to be on. Crazy enough. Like I got one guy, he has like over 2 million followers on Instagram, entrepreneur. Everybody knows who he is. He's literally coming on, which is crazy to me. And also that's the level that I put you in with. I got a 2 million follower Instagram guy that's like crazy.
And I don't even have an Instagram. So
yeah, you don't need one to be successful. It actually doesn't mean jack shit at all. So but yeah, if you're listening out there, you want to check it out. I'll get it more official. I'll get an intro. I'll get an outro. I'll get all that bullshit. But in the meantime, I'm bringing you good conversations from good people, real entrepreneurs that can actually share advice on life, on family, on business. So listen up, connect on my social channels. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, guys.